Okay, hi everyone. Just checking the audio really quickly here. It's funny, I'm trying out my earbuds, but I'm noticing the music is actually loud for me. I don't know if it's too loud for you. Let me know if the music is overpowering me. That's always a fun thing. I may even just I'll listen every so often because that's distracting me. It's actually really loud, so I'm hoping it's not terribly loud on the other side. OBS is telling me one thing. The earbuds are telling me a completely different story. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this very mellow Saturday evening. As you can tell by the music, I'm taking it to a very chill, easygoing, no pressure type of evening. Now, hopefully you should be seeing popping up in the little sidebar. Did I get it right? No, over here. I'll get it eventually. You'll see over here that the people who are watching both from Twitch as well as from YouTube, you'll see their comments popping up on that sidebar chat right there. So if you wanted to interact with each other, by all means, you can do just that. But because people were having so much fun with this whole concept of doing the, let's read from Grimm's fairy tales, classic Grimm's fairy tales. See, right here, proof. This is the book. This is the non-cartoonified happy shiny people type of thing stories. I thought it'd be fun to read these and then we can chat about them and get a feel for what we could do with these stories, because a lot of times as a DM, what I find helps me is sometimes if it's a matter of you need to get something pulled together, it helps having a quick little jumping point to go into things. And sometimes just the littlest bit of inspiration, no pun intended. I know what my channel's logo and, tag thing is. But it's one of those things where you can pick up the slightest bit of inspiration from something that's been floating around for ages and make it your own. And we had a great time doing it last time. Not last week. Last week I got a little bit too nutty with my own schedule and other things happening. But the week before we had some really great ideas going on. The dice picked some fantastic stories, by the by. If you haven't seen this before, what I do is I take the dice, I roll the dice, and the dice will pick out the page number. And also, hello and hi and welcome. And thank you so much, Dragon Shadow and Paul, for saying hello. It is great seeing people in the chat. So what I'm going to do this time around, because I was using a D4 before. You're never late. You're always on time whenever you can make it, Drew. So thank you for joining me. So instead of using the D4, because it is a 400-page book, but what I realized is we're missing the pages that aren't 100 something. What I'm going to do is switch it to a D6. So with the D6, what I will do is that the 5 is going to be my 0 page number, and a 6 means I'm going to re-roll. So the dice will still pick out the page numbers, and I'll get to the story that is closest to the page number that's picked. But that means I need to get out from my lovely dice. I'm using these. These are the dice I'm using tonight because they're my beautiful, pretty dice. So I'm going to take these out. So I need this one, and I need you, and I need you, my percentile, and my D6. So what I do is, again, this is for anyone who's new and hasn't seen this before. What I do is I roll the dice, go to the page number, I'll read the story. All right, just like, bedtime story, everyone tuck in, grab something warm to drink if you want. I have a cup of chai tea with me tonight. I also have my little extra, shawl in case I start getting cold so I can wrap up and get comfy. And then after reading the story, sit and chat a little bit about what I would do. Hey, the Viper! Hello from Twitch this time. Oh my goodness, you're jumping ship. No, you're not jumping ship. You're just switching over to a different channel. Totally cool. That's actually fun to see that people are kind of hopscotching between different channels. And then after I'm finished reading, we can sit and we can chat about what elements from the story we feel would be great for either NPCs, even PC development, or campaign, or, background lore to your world, things like that. So yeah, we got a really cool, I think we decided on a warlock patron NPC, possibly big bad evil guy, but maybe not. Maybe he had this tragic backstory, and even though he was assumed to be the evil guy, it turned out he actually had something going on that was beneficial and things like that. But yeah, we had some, and a really cool, what could have been a lair, because of this one room with all the treasures and everything that were being kept in it and things along those lines. So there were some awesome elements. I even actually marked the stories because of how cool they were, just for my own personal reasons, for down the line when I have time to run a game again, whenever that might happen. So let's see where the dice are going to take us tonight. So tonight we're starting off with I got a 6 on the D6, which means I have to reroll. So that's a 4. 469. And of course, you know what we have to say is nice. Okay, so let's see what we get with that page number. This is my favorite sound with books. I love that sound. Ooh, I love that sound flipping through books. Takes me to happy places. Of course, the question is does it go that high? Watch the book not have that many stories. Oh, actually, no, we're good. We're good. We're good. Oh, and we land on, hey, this is a twofer. Okay, so this has actually picked out 2 stories for us. Let's see where it goes. So the first story is actually, it's a quick little blip paragraph. Okay, the crumbs and the table. And then the second one is the sea hare. So I'll read the crumbs and the table. And keep in mind, I don't know all of the Grimm's fairy tales. I know many of the popular ones. I have gotten familiar with them. Good morning, Leonardo. How are you? And for me, it's an adventure reading these half the time too, because I am purposely not reading them. I don't want to read these ahead of time and start formulating things in my head and over anticipating, because I don't want to ruin that surprise of discussion either. I think there's something to be said for off the cuff and improv too. So that's the other thing. Okay, so let's start with the crumbs on the table. This is probably like a little parable type of thing. A countryman one day said to his little puppies, okay, puppies, we already have puppies. Come into the parlor and enjoy yourselves, and pick up the breadcrumbs on the table. Your mistress has gone out to pay some visits. Then the little dog said, no, no, we will not go. If the mistress gets to know it, she will beat us. There's also that disclaimer. Remember, this is Grimm's fairy tales, written very, 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 very long time ago. I have no control over the way they write some content. Just because I'm reading it doesn't mean I support it. All right? I'm not one for animal abuse. Let's put it that way. The countryman said, she will know nothing about it. Do come. After all, she never gives you anything good. Then the little dogs again said, nay, nay, we must let it alone. We must not go. But the countrymen let them have no peace until at last they went and got on the table and ate at the breadcrumbs with all their might. But at the very moment the mistress came and seized the stick in great haste and beat them and treated them very hardly. And when they were outside, the little dog said to the countryman, dost thou see? Then the countryman laughed and said, didn't you expect it? So they just had to run away. So yeah, this is like a little moral of the story type of excerpt. Hello, Simon Cuff. Thank you for joining us from New Zealand even. Oh, New Zealand. That's definitely one of those places I want to hit when it is safe. Clarify that. When it is safe to travel and not have to worry about the world in general. New Zealand is one of those places I want to get to. Okay, so basically this is one of those quick little stories of like, moral of the story is da-da-da-da-da. What could we do with this for game or campaign? Let me see here. You could almost have the after effect. Okay, so this is the backstory to a bunch of, I'm sorry, but if you throw cute little animals at your party as a DM, you know they're gonna have a little bit of fun with it. So this I would do is I would treat this as sort of like, let's treat this as sort of like a downtime session. Players have just had a massive encounter, high combat. They want a little bit of time to sort of just regroup and have some RP, maybe like a little side quest time. So I would set this up as, let's say that they come across these little puppies clustered together. And at first sort of like, see if they'll recognize them, perception check. Are they going to try and help them? Do they check and see what their state of health is and everything like that? And then you just have one of them start talking to the party. Because clearly they're talking. Okay. Maybe they're awakened. Okay. They're awakened puppies, which would be freaking adorable. But then you could set it up where you have these puppies interacting and it turns into one of those things where, depending on the party and what they want to do, are they going to go seek out justice for the puppies or help them find a home? And if there's a druid in the party, you know very well you're probably going to have puppies for the party at that point. So I think I would treat this more as this is the story they gave to the party. Now it's time for the party to decide what to do. And that's where a lot of improv's going to come into play on your part if you want to run this again as sort of a downtime thing. How the party reacts, what the party locks onto. It's the Men in Black dog. Oh, dear God. Viper. And somehow we've managed to link this into another stream. Thank you so much for that one, Viper. So yeah, that's sort of how I would treat this quick little one. That's their backstory. Oh, now that is clever, Leonardo. I like the take of spin it away from puppies and turn it into kobolds or goblins. Oh, what if it's a band of either or and they're seeking out assistance? That could be another really cool way to spin that one. And it adds a different level of complexity to the story as well. I like that. See, this is why I like chatting with you. This is why I like the chat to jump in and throw their ideas in, because you start getting all these little threads that you can start putting out there and creating things with. Oh, that could be a lot of fun. I especially like the idea of, yeah. See? Okay, so it does, even though it's short, it has a little jumping point for you. It could at least buy you about an hour or two. Okay, so that's the crumbs on the table. Unless anyone else has something to share or ideas about it, what else can be done with it? This is where I feel like saying Bueller. Bueller. Let me take a sip of tea. I'm going to take a sip of tea. I think I need to start taking my allergy medicine again because, you know, we are in the beginning of March and things are starting to thaw. Oh, there's still a massive... I say I'm going to take a sip of tea and I keep talking. Chai. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the next one. The sea hare. I have no idea how this is going to go. Sea hare, H-A-R-E, not H-A-I-R. We had this happen last time too. We had another story about a hare. So let's see what happens with this one. There was once upon a time a princess who, high under the battlements in her castle, had an apartment with 12 windows, which looked out in every possible direction. And when she climbed up to it and looked around her, she could inspect her whole kingdom. When she looked out of the first, her sight was more keen than that of any other human being. From the second, she could see still better. From the third, more distinctly still. And so on it went until the 12th, from when she saw everything above the earth and under the earth, and nothing at all could be kept secret from her. Okay, this is interesting. Moreover, as she was haughty and would be subject to no one, but wished to keep the dominion for herself alone, she caused it to be proclaimed that no one should be ever her husband who could not conceal himself from her so effectively that it should be quite impossible for her to find him. He who tried this, however, and was discovered by her was to have his head struck off and stuck on a post. 97 posts with the heads of dead men were already standing before the castle, and no one had come forward for a long time. Oh, she's an interesting one, isn't she? The princess was delighted and thought to herself, now I shall be free as long as I live. Then 3 brothers appeared before her and announced to her that they were desirous of trying their luck. The eldest believed he would be quite safe if he crept into a lime pit, but she saw him from the first window and made him come out, and he had his head cut off. The second crept into the cellar of the palace, but she perceived him also from the first window, and his fate was sealed. His head was placed on the 90th post. Then the youngest came to her and entreated her to give him a day for consideration, and also to be so gracious as to overlook if she should happen to discover him twice. But if he failed the third time, he would look on his life as over. As he was so handsome and begged so earnestly, she said, yes, I will grant thee that, but thou wilt not succeed. The next day he meditated for a long time on how he should hide himself, but all in vain. Then he seized his gun and went out hunting. He saw a raven and took good aim at him, and was just going to fire when the bird cried, don't shoot, I will make it worth thy while not. He put his gun down and went on, and came to a lake where he surprised a large fish, which had come up from the depths below the surface of the water. When he had aimed at it, the fish cried, don't shoot, and I will make it worth thy while. And he allowed it to dive down again and went onwards, and met a fox which was lame. He fired and missed it, and the fox cried, you had much better come here and draw the thorn out of my foot for me. He did this. But then he wanted to kill the fox and skin it, and the fox said, stop, and I will make it worth thy while. The youth let him go, and then as it was evening, returned home. Okay, so he has basically saved these different creatures, the raven, the fish, and the fox. And all in desire to try and hide himself away. The next day he was to hide himself, but howsoever much he puzzled his brains over it, he did not know where. I like that. Puzzled his brains over it. That's a good turn of phrase. He went into the forest to the raven and said, I let thee live on, so now tell me where I am to hide myself, so that the king's daughter shall not see me. The raven hung his head and thought it over for a long time. At length he croaked, I have it. And he fetched an egg out of his nest, cut it in 2 parts, and shut the youth inside of it. Then he made it whole again and seated himself on it. When the king's daughter went to the first window, she could not discover him, nor could she from the others, and she began to be uneasy. But from the 11th she saw him. She ordered the raven to be shot, and the egg was to be brought and broken, and the youth was forced to come out. She said, "For once thou art excused, but if thou dost not do better than this, thou art lost." The next day he went to the lake, called the fish to him, and said, I suffered thee to live, and now tell me where to hide myself, so that the king's daughter may not see me. The fish thought for a while and cried, I have it, I will shut thee up in my stomach. He swallowed him and went down at the bottom of the lake. The king's daughter looked through her windows, and even from the 11th did not see him, and was alarmed. But at length from the 12th she saw him. She ordered the fish to be caught and killed, and then the youth appeared. Everyone can imagine what a state of mind he was in. She said, "Twice thou art forgiven, but be sure that thy head will be set on the 100th post." On the last day he went with a heavy heart into the country and met the fox. "Thou knowest how to find all kinds of hiding places," he said. "I let thee live. Now advise me where I shall hide myself, so that the king's daughter shall not discover me." "That's a hard task," answered the fox, looking very thoughtful. At length he cried, "I have it," and went with him to a spring and dipped himself in it, and came out as a stall keeper in the market and a dealer in animals. The youth had to dip himself in the water also, and changed into a small sea hare. The merchant went down into the town and showed the pretty little animal, and many persons gathered to see it. At length the king's daughter came likewise, and as she liked it very much, she bought it and gave the merchant a good deal of money for it. Before he gave it over to her, he said, "When the king's daughter goes to the window, creep quickly under the braids of her hair." And now the time arrived, and when she was to search for him, she went to the window, one after the other, from the 1st to the 11th, and did not see him. When she did not see him from the 12th either, she was full of anxiety and anger, shut it down with such violence that the glass in every window shivered into 1,000 pieces, and the whole castle shook. She went back and felt the sea hare beneath her braids of her hair. Then she seized it and threw it onto the ground, exclaiming, "Away with thee, get out of my sight." It ran to the merchant, and both of them hurried to the spring, wherein they plunged and received back their true forms. The youth thanked the fox and said, "The raven and the fish are idiots compared with thee. Thou knowest the right tune to play, there is no denying that." The youth went straight to the palace. The princess was already expecting him, and accommodated herself to her destiny. The wedding was solemnized, and now he was king and lord of all the kingdom. He never told her where he had concealed himself for the 3rd time, who had helped him, so she believed that he had done everything of his own skill, and she had a great respect for him, for she thought to herself, "He is able to do more than I." Okay, interesting. First of all, there's elements from the story I would absolutely pull and kind of just make their own thing. Can we talk about this tower with the 12 windows? That in and of itself could be such a cool function to have in the story. Lots of fae, Leonardo, yes, heavily fae feeling. I mean, this you could very easily plunk into the Feywild without a doubt. I have a feeling we can say that about a lot of the Grimm's fairy tales because we're all sort of falling into that pattern. But I do like the 12 windows and how the 12 windows look into different things with more detail. That's a pretty interesting factor. So that could almost be, I mean, geez, if you wanted to homebrew something, that could be like the keystone to your campaign. You have this tower of 12 windows, and each window, it lets you view into a different world almost. You following me here? So each window you look through, it gives you view into what's going on and if everything's all right, or if there's something happening, and your heroes could choose whether or not they want to go and help or assist, or maybe the windows are how different creatures from different worlds come and communicate type of situation. So I think taking that particular tower from the castle could really lead to an awesome impetus for your campaign to get things started, to get things developing. I mean, I kind of would sit here and mull on where those 12 windows would look. It could, and not even, maybe not even different worlds, like maybe just different locations within your world. That could be another factor you could do with it. And maybe the princess. Okay, so you have the princess. So maybe the princess is, sorceress or something like that, and build her into it. And arg, Scott, I have to say your name whenever I see it. Or have you through time? Oh, I know it's arg, but I'm going to say, ooh, I like that one too. That would be really cool. You could have like different things, different timelines going on. Ah, Palantir idea. Stare into the abyss and it stares into you. Viper. Oh, the time thing. That's very interesting. Okay. Some form of scrying could be involved too with the glass, enchanted glass for the windows. I like this. Yeah, this tower could definitely become a thing. Since Sauron and one of the stones. It always goes back to Lord of the Rings. But no, I think this could be a really fascinating mechanic. This tower itself. Especially if you have that whole time factor going in there. Or almost like maybe like parallel worlds. Maybe something has gone terribly wrong. Oh, here we go. Okay. What if something has gone terribly wrong in the current world in which the tower stands? But looking through these different windows, there are like parallel worlds. And in one of these worlds, you're able to go and fix what has happened. See what I'm saying? But you don't know which one it is. They'd have to go and explore and find out and do what they think would be the thing that would remedy the situation. But they'd only know by coming back to the tower and seeing what's going on currently. That could be a really interesting... way to set things up. And, you know, they could visit throughout the world itself first before going into these different time parallels. And like sort of like get the like why is the world the way it is? What has happened? Like they have to do some investigation, you know, little hunting things out, searching things out. What got this way? What legends are there? What maybe important figures in the past were up to something or something happened to them? And using these little bits of information, they have to go up to this tower and sort of decide from what they're gathering where they should go. So maybe they're able to get enough of what's happening in these time parallels to kind of guess where they are. Maybe it's like the clothing that's worn or like the actual architecture or the buildings that are seen in the landscape. Yeah, a little Quantum Leap-esque, a little touch of that. Oh, that would be fascinating. That would be I need to put my hair up. This is what happens when I start thinking. I put my hair up. I don't know why. I have to. You can tell from the past couple games I was playing and the hair went up because I was enjoying myself and I was trying to think strategically. Or strategically, as a student I used to teach would say. Strategically. And that's just it. It would be a lot of work ahead of time for the DM. And we're also just assuming that we're saying, hey, it's 12. Obviously, you could pull in and rein in, rather, how many windows you'd want to be working with. So if 12 timelines, 12 multiverses, however you want to phrase this, alternate timelines, parallel worlds, you could, you know, hone it into maybe it's 6, maybe it's 4, something like that. But that could be a really wicked cool way to set up a campaign. You know, how your actions as the heroes, are you doing the right thing? There's gonna be a lot of morality questions there. Is this what you need to have happen to make the changes occur to fix what's wrong with the world? And is it going to be worth changing this other timeline, this other world, to make it so that that's just it? Like, is it going to affect? Yeah, exactly. Leonardo's with me on this one. Leonardo's following. So yeah, that could be, that's a nice meaty start for a campaign. And a lot for the, players to work with. I really think that could be a lot of fun. That could be really, really fascinating. Sorry, I'm just looking at some technical things because my green just flashed into orange. My frame rate. Oh, we're going back to north, south, east, west, and Mordor. Yeah. Yeah, what if that 12th... Oh, that could be interesting. What if that 12th one, like say it was offline, say it had gone dark, and they don't know why. So something maybe happened to even that timeline. There's so much you could do with this. There's so many ways you could spin this. Oh, I like this. What motivates to want them to go back if they find a better timeline? That's just it. See, this is why we're talking about this together, Arg Scott. So we need some sort of mechanism. What if windows close? They have a finite amount of time to try and fix things. That'll give them a sense of urgency to make sure that they're, moving forward. If you don't get back before the door closes or the window closes, then you're stuck there. Maybe that's a thing. Or, oh God, you could almost like dig, Back to the Future it. Like if they stay in the world too long, they start to fade. They stay in the wrong timeline. Things start to happen to them. Could also run it that way. Oh, they need to rescue someone who'd already tried but went missing. Could definitely work. There's a few things that could be done here. I kind of like when you're in the timeline for too long that you're not supposed to be in, it affects you. Like things start to disappear. Weapons, armor, spell slots, stuff like that. That could be interesting. The longer you're there, the less you're yourself. Because you're not connected to your own timeline. That might be something cool to play around with too. But yeah, so you'd need to figure, so you could definitely use this. This could absolutely be ethics questions. If you go to a timeline, see, now Drew's bringing up an interesting thing. What if you meet yourself? Do you take it over? See, that's where I think you'd have to have something where, let me put the book over here. That's where I think if we have something where being in the wrong timeline is going to affect them in an undesirable way, that could be pivotal. So that they couldn't take over their other lives. They wouldn't be able to. Like the timeline would basically just start absorbing them into it. And they wouldn't exist because they aren't supposed to be there type of concept. Again, tapping into sort of like a Back to the Future thing. Because like the photograph and started fading. Yes, I know it's because it was like trying to get the parents together, but work with me here. So that they keep rolling with disadvantage. Oh, that could be it. Maybe they have to do a certain roll every morning to see how well they're able to function that day. I'm really liking this concept. I'm not at all thinking. This hasn't at all triggered something in my mind. No, my darlings, not in the least. Not at all. But that could be... That in and of itself, I like that. Absolutely. Or you start getting them subsumed in the alternate timeline, changing into what or who you would be in that timeline. Yeah. Or what the timeline thing. Yeah. See, I think playing around with the fact that if they're in a place they shouldn't technically be in for a long period of time, and that mechanics, it's kind of a similar concept to what happens in Tales of the Margrave from Kobold Press, the campaign that I ran for them. The Margrave is a sentient creature, essentially. Not giving away spoilers, but how you interact with the Margrave affects what happens to you as a player. It can be very overt, it can be very, covert. But I think working something in like that for the traveling between timelines would be a good way to keep it so that you don't have players like, well, I'm just going to stay here in the world that's perfect and wonderful and everyone is happy and holding hands and nothing is wrong here. Because while yes, everything is perfect and wonderful there, maybe something like their presence there alone starts affecting that world. Are there others over there have been trapped and changed? Oh, yes. You know what? Yes, I think you would need to have a couple of NPCs. Yeah, that's a good point, Viper. I think if you have NPCs in there who sort of, like, even if they like just have shadows of memories, talking about their other, or the dreams they had, or the life before, or things like that. That could be a really fun way to nod. Like, they basically have enough knowledge of the world from where the party came from, type of situation. I don't know, I just doubled that up. Ooh. I like how we're still just on the tower itself. We haven't even tapped into the rest of the story. I like this. Yeah, I think if we have it where throw in some NPCs, like maybe each of the timelines has 1 or 2 NPCs, just so you always have that mechanic there as the DM to work with. Pardon my hiccup. And then staying in that timeline too long will have some sort of adverse effect upon the party members. I like this. Could it be like in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I just finished watching recently? Oh, where Cisco had the false vision of, yes. Oh, that's an interesting take. You could spin it that way. Mm-hmm. This actually is, no pun intended, this has opened up a lot of different windows of possibility. And I just saw what song it is. Hold on a moment. I don't like this song. I don't like that one either. Who's playing now? Moment in Time? It's a... we'll see. No, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna jump to where I know I like... See, I like Breaking the Clouds. We're gonna go to Breaking the Clouds. I like this. I think that is a really unique, because I haven't heard of something like this. That could be a really cool way to sort of introduce the party to... Oh, episode where Jake keeps trying to bring his dad back. Jeez Louise. There's a... Yeah. I think this could give... And that's just it. Like, you could have a subset something happening in the... Leonardo, I swear I had no intention of connecting this to the tower. This is my night off. This is not a WizKids thing at all. I promise this is not me. Wow. I really like that. I really like this concept. And I never would have thought of even doing this. I was gonna say, we could talk about the rest of the story. Yeah, and I think, I think the rest of the story, there were some interesting elements to it in terms of the animals helping him out type of situation, but we've seen that before also in a couple of other stories where, the animals have come in and, helped out last minute type of thing. So you could have that as part of your story. Maybe, these little animals, they might have a bit of information if you stop and talk with them, and that helps you. You could do that. The princess could just be a really cool NPC to play around with. Maybe even spin her as maniacal, big bad evil person who's just going around killing people because she doesn't want to get married. Which, again, when it was written, 12 Monkeys movie. I haven't seen that, so I'm not familiar with 12 Monkeys. Stuck in the Past. Or the Voyager captain who was, yeah, so maybe that could be it. What if what's wrong in the current world is someone went missing into one of these windows, but they don't know which one. They were last seen in the tower room And maybe like people are starting to forget about the person in the current world, like just something like that. That could almost be it. Charlie Chaplin's Walking Stick. I don't like this song either. We'll try New Frontiers. See, now my brain is just like, there is so much. It could be a long campaign. A character that judges their actions. Oh. Oh, then we could have like a little bit of a god element pulled into here. This got really meaty on us, didn't it? Okay. Okay. Some sort of god of time. You know, they're the ones who are keeping an eye on the party. And similar to what the Margrave does. You know, seeing what they do. Oh, the show Sleep. That's another one. That's one I know I should watch. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The effects could be different according to each world. Like maybe your spellcasters suddenly it's a low magic world or something like that. And they'll start losing their magic because they're there too long. Or maybe the fighters, they become weakened because there's something about that world that's just entirely draining. There's so much that we could do with this. Just hopscotch around with it. I mean, we went from a basic tower. It's like, how well can you see out the window? Okay. We're not doing Infinity Stones. Oh, hello, Dan Dillon. So basically, the story itself was classic Grimm's. Princess who didn't want to get married, so sent these suitors through all these different hoops to go through. But basically, she had a tower where there were 12 windows. Window 1 you could see through, window 2 you could see through better, and all throughout the kingdom type of thing, it would get progressively better until you got to the 12th window, which was just like, you know, you could see everything. You could see smell. So we took that concept of the 12-windowed tower and turned it into, what if this is either a different realm? What if it's a different space and time type of situation? Something has gone wrong in the world and you have to go into the other areas or the other windows basically and try and suss out what's happened. Hello, Hawkmere. But yeah, this... Oh, good, Scott. If you play around with this, and I'm sorry, I'm playing with my hair. This is what I do. I start getting into things and the hair starts getting to be my little worry stone. If you start playing around with this, I would love to know how it goes, because I like this. I like that we have each window is an alternate timeline. I think the timeline's working out a little bit better than alternate realms. So we have an alternate timeline for each window. And I like someone from the current timeline got pulled into one of these windows. We don't know which one. And so the party has to go, and it's somewhat of significance. It's not just like, oh, you know, Pete the dog walker. It's like maybe the king of the castle, something happened to the king or something like that. And I very much think, who was it that said, the judge, Arg Scott. I like this idea that there's sort of this, let me move my tea because now I'm just fidgeting with everything. I like the idea that we have this god of time like figure. See, I would love to do someone like Loki, quite frankly, but that's a different story. That's just how my brain works. But I like having this god of time who's sort of overseeing what the party's doing and holding them accountable. And who knows, maybe have it where that god is the one responsible for whomever it was in that tower room getting sucked away and pulled into one of the different timelines. And I very much think if we have that element of they have been in the world too long, or the different timeline too long, things start happening to them. And depending on the timeline, you could play around with whatever it is. I like the idea of, you know, things start going away on them. Like weapon disappears, you know, equipment, things like that in one timeline. And like I said, the spellcasters, like suddenly their magic starts dwindling because this is a low magic timeline. Is there a character who catalogs the timelines and their shifting histories? Wouldn't that be interesting? Ooh, Viper. I'm loving all these ideas. Honestly, I have hit the record button tonight, which I don't normally do because I'm like, I'll download it. I'm glad I am recording tonight because this one, the tower is a library with windows and different wings. The character might be rather odd. I'm just reading everyone's thoughts and you can see I'm like absorbing these. Interesting. They have to fix the current timeline without running afoul of the goddess of time. Oh, absolutely. That's just it. Like this is not going to be a simple little howdy doody jump around. This is something where they're going to have to be very careful and think about what they're doing. Oh, I see where you're going with this one, Dan. Okay. Oh, this just got like really wicked cool concept-wise, everyone. You know what? That could be, yes, I think we would need to have, let's have an NPC who does like this sort of master chronicler. Master of the Tower of Chronicles type of thing. You see what's in the chat. My brain is now going in overdrive. You know when your computer starts like working too hard and the fans start whirring like crazy? That's brain right now. I do like that idea, Viper. And Dan, you've kind of just squished the concepts together into that would be really... Yeah. I think if we have sort of this almost like Mad Hatter-esque type of character, that would be fascinating. See, now I want to mull on this. I want to mull on this one more and see if, I don't know why. I want to see this one sort of shaped out. First one, it could be a throwaway where I think we've pretty much landed on this is what we're going to talk about tonight, everyone. Because I just noticed the time too. First one, it could be a throwaway where they learn the repercussions of staying too long. Yes, I like that. Oh, I like that. If people go through the windows, there could be time bandits type of authority. When I have like 4 other clones of myself, when would I do the Kickstarter for this campaign? You know, I don't think I'd want to have sort of a time bandits thing. Personally, you absolutely could. I think personally for me, it's more the urgency to try and save the king, and then I think having something where it was like something the king has done, like down the line they find out that there was a reason for the king getting into a different timeline. Like maybe the king came from a different timeline and has been doing something. Maybe that's what's wrong with the world. Oh, okay. So, what if the current ruler somehow figured out a way to sort of pause time for themselves, and they shifted to a different timeline because they realized that the other timeline is better than the one that they were living in, going back to what we were talking about however many comments back. All right. And they have been in the wrong timeline on purpose, and, you know, God of Time like finally found them because whatever magic had been keeping them there weakened enough so that going to the story. Okay, the story. Like, now the god can see the king has been in a place where they shouldn't be. I think that could be your, maybe the king's on the run. Maybe the king didn't get pulled in. Maybe the king is now trying to hide in the different timelines. All right? And you have to find this guy and get him back to the right one to fix what's happening with the other timelines. Ooh. Thank God we are recording this. Yeah. I think I just got lost down a rabbit hole and the thing was called the sea hare. Yeah, I'm liking this a lot, Scott. Like, way too much. The more we're talking about this is just like sort of, he must have a goatee. Don't ask. Oh. I like this a lot. I was trying not to cough, didn't work. Yeah, I think just the whole thing, I think it's the king is actually someone who has jumped a timeline because they somehow magicked it out that they could hide from the Lord of Time, the God of Time, some powerful being having to deal with time. And the magic has somehow failed. We'll get that figured out. And the king is now on the run in one of the other timelines. And the party is needed to find the king on the run. We'll call it. To try and fix what's happening. Because this king now jumping between timeline to timeline to timeline, maybe it's affecting all the timelines, not just the one, but all of them are getting somehow corrupted or corroded. Can we get story time with the orc voice modulation? Okay, Calkins, I will. It might affect my camera setting really quick. I don't know why, but for some reason when I go to play with the voices, it decides to change my camera settings too. Logitech quirk. But, and then what we can do is sort of have the keeper of the chronicles is maybe like the first significant NPC the party gets to interact with to get a sense for how the timelines works, gets the history and everything like that. I love the idea that the first timeline is the throwaway, whichever one they jump into first. That's where they learn you can only stay for so long, which is like obviously the whole king having the magic, whatever, that hasn't been revealed. That comes with time. That comes down the pipeline of play. That's not something like, and guess what? The king did this and now he's gone. All they know is the king has been taken. Okay. The king is a karma Houdini of some kind, like in the imagine. I'm also getting great recommendations for things I need to watch, clearly. But they start out thinking they're off to rescue the king, and it turns out that the person they're off to rescue is the one who has seriously whacked up the timelines because of their selfishness. You could do a lot of stuff with just the one story. I kind of like having a look at the king is the, spin it where the king is the victim to begin with, but it turns out the king was actually the cause of the whole problem. Knowingly. They have knowingly done this. Yeah. Yes, Drew Adams. Yeah. Kind of like that. Yep. Yeah. Oh, wow. That just picked up and ran off on its own, didn't it? Oh, God. I don't have time for that. It would be interesting to see if you could write it or create it maybe potentially game agnostic. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not married to that at all, but I am liking where we have gone with just the, at first it was just 12 windows and the, every window looked a little bit cleaner. But this could be really an interesting, very long-term campaign. Like this would absolutely, this wouldn't be like oh, we're just gonna play for like 8 sessions. I could easily see maybe each window being at least, at least 4 to 6 sessions each window, if not more, especially depending on how the party plays. But can a window be too clean somehow? Yes, birds can get confused and fly into it and kill themselves. I'm not kidding. Oh man. What would you call it? What would we call this? Oh, how many pages was it? It was, what was it, 469? Nice. And I closed the book. It was 2 pages, literally two pages worth of story. And this is what's happened. That's how much we got out of. And what we focused on was the first paragraph. Not even kidding. We've taken the first paragraph from this story, and this is what it has turned into. But see, that's why I love tapping into stories and getting a look at things. And yeah, I think it's probably, we're gonna have to wrap up the stream soon, because if things are looking choppy, let me know, because I'm seeing that I'm having a frame rate issue. And I don't want it to get too jumbly-wumbly. But yes, this was a highly unexpected, but very cool. And technically you'd have 13 worlds. You're working with 13 timelines. Because if it's 12 windows and you have the tower timeline, the timeline which is the tower, that's really cool. And each of the timelines has the tower. Like, the tower is the consistent piece. It's almost independent of time in and of itself. There's something special about that tower. I would absolutely have that mechanism with it. Oh, there's so many options. I have got to stop fiddling, but this is what I do when I start brainstorming. Hee hee. I'm really quite pleased with just reading that story. Yeah, no, we're not calling it that. Yeah, that's why I said, I mean, it could be almost, jeez, these people, I'm sorry. It could be potentially game agnostic, where it's not committed to one particular game. You could use Cypher, you could use Cortex, you could use D&D, you could use, I haven't played Pathfinder, so I can't speak to Pathfinder. You could create your own system of checks and balances and what have you, for how you want to use the dice. Oh yeah. Oh dear God. Each window is a different game? No, that's cruel. I like the altered, for me, I like the altered timeline thing. Like, things are just different enough in each timeline. Something has shifted, something has changed, because then you can have the same NPCs, but then in each world, there's something slightly different about them, or something very different about them. So it becomes like, oh, well, we know that there's this NPC who is a big help to us in this timeline. They go and seek out that same person, and they want nothing to do with them in this timeline, for whatever reason. There's just so many nuances and dynamics that could be thrown into this mix. I did not expect us to jump into something that sounded so simplistic upon reading and find ourselves here, because I am quite frankly thinking. I'm really thinking about this one. Well, if this ever gets out and someone has published a game about a tower with 12 windows in different timelines, you know where they got it. A very fun rabbit hole, yeah. Kind of a Christmas Carol type element. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. I see what you're talking about a little bit. Cypher. Yeah, I have played Cypher before. This might be more Cypher friendly. Oh, man. Cool BB's arc. Oh my God. Dear God. Dan. There is a part of BB's no one has ever been to either, and I could actually, oh, it would actually build perfectly into that spot. Crud. And BB is the keeper of the Chronicles. That would make a hell of a lot of sense with her. That actually could be something. I am quite pleased with what the dice took us to today. I was laughing. I was laughing that we're going to 469. No, I'm not. Well, I obviously am. Literally, I am. But holy heck. What else are you thinking? Because I can't be the only one sitting here like, what else can be done? What else can be done? What else can be done? Talk to me. Talk to me. This is more of a black hole than a rabbit hole. Is it a black hole, though? Is it when we're getting, like, some really solid ideas out of it? And seriously, if anyone takes these concepts and kind of applies them into their own campaign and runs it how they see fit, let me know. I'd love to hear how it goes over. But I am quite frankly thinking this could be rather exciting and fun and different. It'd be a lot of work up front. You would have to, as the storyteller, get this all set and ready to go. You're gonna have to know your worlds and your NPCs in their various forms. Oh, but this could be fun. Time tunnel. And that's just, yeah, the same campaign could replay radically differently. Yeah. Oh, this would need some fleshing out for sure, but just name the campaign after the page numbers. Timeline 469. That doesn't sound good. Nope. I couldn't say the name seriously. Fizban type Year of Hell. I like, part of me's like, I'm already trying to process something for a name for this. And you know what? I would keep it 12. I'd keep it 12 because of the whole, like, you know, just of our own, like, 12 months in a year type of thing. But yeah, this has become something completely I'm going to obsess and mull on. Oh. Because then it's like, okay, take each world and like the highlight points of it. Like, what's different about this timeline in comparison to the next timeline? What changed? What's going on? Is it something like, you know, maybe in the one world it is chronically stormy weather or something like that. Or like Narnia, it's constant winter. That's just it. It's you know, and then birdseed trail, whatever you want to call it, breadcrumb. They start realizing that the person that they're trying to save, they're trying to find the king, but they're realizing, why are they talking about this king here? How do they know about this king? And things like that. I very much like that this is this whole upheaval was created because a person jumped timelines and the magic they used has caved in. The strange could be somewhat applicable to this too. Yeah. Quite curious. Quite curious. Oh. Yeah. I gotta tell you, this is not, I thought we were gonna read like 3 stories and let's get a couple more NPCs and things like that. I did not see a whole freaking campaign and multi-leveled timeline world potential coming out of this. But oh, this is very cool. this is something I wasn't doing anything tomorrow. Nope. Might be now. All right, now, let me see here. Who brought up the voice? Quickly before we go, I have the lovely Yeti Blue World of Warcraft microphone. And if you have not heard of this yet, if my camera goes funny, it's because I'm playing around with settings. Are you gonna be nice? Are you gonna change on me? So if you play games and you want to have fun with your voice, now the funny thing about this is that you will hear the change in my voice, theoretically. I won't, unless I plug directly into my microphone. Or my headphones. Where are my headphones at? My actual headphones, not my earbuds. The king was murdered by strangers. Use a window, go back, only to find that your party are the strangers that Oh, Drew. Oh, Drew, that's an interesting one. Okay, give me just a quick second here. I need to plug in. Hopefully I haven't made my microphone go all crackly. All right, so with this Blue Yeti microphone World of Warcraft deal, it will actually, isn't it funny? Like the name is proving to be, I think, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'll have a name for the campaign. But what you can do with this is you can actually, I want the effects. Because right now I have my voice set on something called crisp and warm. It's just a good setting. I found it's a good balance for my own voice. But we can have fun here. And if you caught the clip on Twitter where Goblin Katie posted my saying, I am an orc, I was using the Warcraft orc setting on this. So I'm going to click a button.
I am an orc, but you can see my camera just went blue. So right now I'm speaking as an orc, although people seem to think this is Doug from Up. No, I'm not picking up my Discord again. I don't have time to babysit. I hate to say it, but I'm probably saying it in a very odd voice. Here's Demon. This could be a fun voice to incorporate into running the game. I can't hear myself, but Katie seemed to think it was quite fun. You have Demon, which is what I am speaking in now. And then I'm going to switch to...
Gnome. So now I'm speaking as a gnome, which I have no idea, but hi, this is the gnome on the World of Warcraft. I was going to say War of Warcraft, no. Now this is Gnome Extreme. Hopefully they're all coming through. This is Imp. Hi, I'm an Imp. I am speaking to you with the Imp effect. And what else do we have?
King's Chamber. I think this is more of how your voice sounds in So right now I'm speaking to you from the King's Chamber. I don't know how it sounds. I'm assuming that it's rather grandiose. And what's that? A megagon? A mechagon pipe. I don't know what that means.
So this is the mechagon. I feel like I'm stuttering. The mechagon pipe. I don't know what that represents. But that's that one. And this is the Mecha Gnome. This is Mecha Gnome Vocalize. Hi, how are ya? How's it going? We already did Orc.
This is Pig Whistle and Stage. I think this is just like if you're standing in a tavern type of thing and your voice is modulated to sound thusly such. Okay, this is my favorite one. Get ready.
I am the Lich King. This is the one where if you caught that video from Katie, it's the one where I just started cracking up. Ooh, that's cool to know, Matt. Thank you. So I'm the Lich King right now. It's just For some reason, it tickles my funny bone.
This is Void Echoes. I'm speaking to you with a Void Echoes voice.
Robot. I am a robot. How do you do? Very mechanical, I'm assuming. Digital in tone, I'm thinking. I am gonna go back to this part of the stream and listen to what this all sounds like. King Giggles. That's just it. That's why I'm like, I love to throw the irony in. This one was fun. This one's called.
This is split personality. So you get a high tone and a low tone. So, split personality, I'm just speaking to you. Everything is perfectly fine. There is no need to adjust your sound. You warforged me? Is that what that sounds like? The next one I shouldn't do when I'm giggling. This one is helium chipmunk. And I am trying so hard not to jump up into my higher register and start cracking up.
Okay, now this is fishbowl. I don't know what that means. That's all I'm doing because from YouTube you never know. This is fishbowl. Very good fishbowl.
This one is Whisper. I am actually speaking in the same voice as before. I haven't changed my voice at all. But according to Katie, this sounds like... this sounds like, oh my god, that sounds out of my giggles sound in a whisper. I just saw Arc Scott's comment. So I'm whispering to you, but I'm not. I'm actually still speaking at my normal volume.
Here is witness protection. So, you know, you could use this when you're interrogating someone and you remain anonymous. And then, I think they also have two settings where if you wanted your voice to sound more masculine, you can do that. So this one's, it's called gender shift, I think that's the name. Gender shift.
Male. So I'm using gender shift male right now. I don't know what that's done to my voice at all. I shall go back when I say bye-bye and watch this part of the... Hold on, because this is bugging me. I need to... Yay. See, I'm human. I have human complexion. And then if I were to go to gender shift female, I don't think it does anything
to my voice. This is, yeah, it's just gonna do that to me. Gender shift female. I don't know if there's a change at all. But those are the special effects voices you get with the World of Warcraft Blue Yeti.
FX off, please. And now you're just going to have my voice set to crisp and warm. Yeah, broadcast your face. The irony is not lost on me, trust me. But it's a cool microphone. I've been having fun with it. It definitely has a consistent quality to it, which I like. If anyone is, like I said, if anyone's doing something where they wanted to have fun as a streamer with different voices, you could do that. For me, it was one of those things like, oh, that's kind of cool, but because I tend to jump into my own voices anyways, I don't know if it's as necessary for me, but it's still fun. It's fun to play around with. It's more the actual voice settings you can do for your own voice that I appreciated. Because I did play around a little bit, because there are, I'll go through them. Why not? This is Broadcaster 1. Morning, everyone, on your morning commute. But that's Broadcaster 1. Here is Broadcaster 2, which I think is a similar tone. It's just a slight, looks like, what did they change a little bit? Oh, the lows go a little bit up and the highs go a little bit down. High voice loud. Hello, high voice loud. This is high voice soft. Low voice loud. I don't know what this means. I haven't played with this part before at all. Oh, I'm glad that you're enjoying this, Paul. Broadcaster, the sequel. Low voice soft. This is bass boost, which I can only assume it makes the lower tone sound a little bit more forward and rich, would be my guess. I have not heard. Crisp and warm is what I keep on there. This is warm and vintage. Hello, warm and vintage. Hi, how are you doing? And let's go classic radio. Hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. FM. And finally, they have what's called AM. So this is the AM voice in the back, voice setting. But like I said, I like what's called crisp and warm. That's the one I've kind of gravitated toward. Well, that was a total tangent. I didn't expect to take you on that one either. This is longer than I meant to stay on, but okay, cool. I had so much fun. This was honestly, I'm so glad I did this tonight and that we had that particular story get picked out. Again, it's the sea hare from the Grimm's fairy tales. I definitely want to play around with this tower with the 12 windows, and something has run amiss, and the whole timeline sequence thing being off. Oh, it's a good recorded message voice. That's good to know. So it's one of those things where I think I'm going to be dwelling on this and mulling on this. And if you start doing the same, definitely at me on Twitter. That's honestly where I am most active these days. If you want to, have a chit chat back and forth with me, just say, hey, this is my name on whichever side of the playground you were on, whether it was Twitch or YouTube. Just let me know. And yeah, because I'm really enjoying this whole brewing, what's happening up here. It could be very cool to do something with this. How long it'll take me to get something pulled together on my end and done, that's a completely different story. But I like the hiding king, and things have been affected and they have to be repaired somehow, but you can only stay for so long in each timeline. Not saying they can't go back. It could just be you can only be in each timeline for so long, but then you have to come back to your own timeline for a certain period of time to sort of, get your molecules synced back up to what it's supposed to be. Science it somehow. Or magic it somehow. But that's just it. See, Leonardo, that's just it. Like my own gears are like, I'm fascinated, and I love it when something like this happens for a story. So yeah, and I was going to talk about Cold Bell Press Kickstarter. I'm like, there was something else I wanted to talk about. You still have time to jump into that if you want to, and it has been announced. I am a contributor to that. I am actually providing them with 7 magic items based off of the campaign that I ran for them, The Last Heir, which was a Tales of the Old Margrave inspired campaign. And I have pulled 7 of the magic items that I created for each of my players. 1 item per player type of thing. It's going to be part of their collection. It's going to be in the Vault of Magic. So if you want to jump into that, I would highly recommend it. Kobold always does a fantastic job with their Kickstarters. Various tiers as to what you want to pledge into. You could do just the PDF if you're just PDF land. If you want to get the hardcover, I get the hardcovers because I'm a book lover. Jump in to get the book itself with the PDF, or the book and virtual tabletop and the PDF. So a lot of different levels. And I want to say there's like 10 days left, maybe 9 days, but it's truly worthwhile. I have backed a couple of their other Kickstarters, and they have always delivered beautiful results, and you'll see yours truly in there as one of the contributors, which is kind of bizarre but also really cool at the same time. So yeah, quick little mention of that one. I did not grab the link, but just jump into Kickstarter and type in Kobold Press Vault of Magic and it'll shoot you right over there. No problems whatsoever. Or like I said, follow me on Twitter and you can see that I just I personally backed it myself this morning because paycheck came. So yeah, you can find the link on my Twitter as well, on the tweeters. I think that's pretty much it. I am super thrilled with how this went tonight after just reading it was technically like the story. We had a little one paragraph and then we had the bigger story. And it was the like the first paragraph and a half from the bigger story that just got us launched into this brainstorm session. I do want to try and keep doing more of these. I think it is valuable. I think it is helpful for a lot of people who are trying to get into creating more for their own games or getting ideas for what they can do with their own games. More and more people are asking me, how do I? And quite frankly, you just saw my process tonight. I lock onto an idea and I start running with it. And then I will bug people with the idea. Like, what do you think of this? But this was wonderful. So what does my week look like next week? I might be able to do this again. I kind of like doing it on Friday nights. I couldn't do it the past 2 Fridays because I was in games. So hopefully I could do it again this coming Friday. So everyone who's still hanging out with me in the chats, thank you so much, by the way, for staying for the ramblings and the brainstorming together. I love doing collaborative talk it throughs. Check out again Twitter, and I'll try and make announcements, and I'll schedule it up. I just gotta check, and I'll probably get it scheduled up by tomorrow night if I know things are looking good. And just check back on the YouTube channel to see if a stream has been scheduled. If you see that the stream has been scheduled, that means it will be happening. The writer's room. I like this. This was fun. This was really a lot of fun. I needed a night like this of just synergistic connection. Oh boy. I hope you all are doing all right, and I hope you all are able to enjoy your weekend and that it is restful and that it is recuperative, that you get some time to take care of yourselves. I know that a lot of people are struggling right now because we've hit that, year mark for me. So that's why I want to try and do this more often, because I think it's important that we connect and we have some time to just sort of, be able to interact with each other. But yeah, come and find me on socials. I'm losing steam now. I think my adrenaline from the idea has caught up with me. And the lack thereof, the adrenaline crash, I should say. So I will catch you. I have my last Harper's Tale, Hope of Redemption. That's Tuesday night. All right, so if you want to catch the ending to that mini campaign over on Mini Terrain Domain, please make sure you join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, and you'll see how that gets to get wrapped up. Another Dawnbringers is happening on Thursday, as usual. We just finished killing our Viatorus, so that's going to be a thing to come to a resolve with. That starts at 8:30 also on Mini Terrain Domain, and then, like I said, Friday I'm going to try and do another story time here. With the Grimm's fairy tales, and we'll see what else we can build on. And if I've done any further development for this concept tonight, I will definitely let you know on Friday if I've come up with any more pointers or ideas or concepts to go along with the I don't know, what do I call it? What am I going to call this thing? I want to give it a name so I can call it something. Thank you so much, Simon. I'm glad you enjoyed this. And then Wednesday, you can catch me for Mini Mayhem on WizKid's YouTube channel. And I'm actually going to be pulling out the Warlock tiles again and showing off the curves and angles for the Dungeon tile sets. Dungeon Tiles 1, that's the 1-inch high ones, the half walls. So that's going to be like a quick room build and showing you how you can get the room set up to be a something. I'm still deciding what the something is going to be based upon the accessories I have to share too. But should be a fun one, and that's at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. All this is Eastern Time, all the times I'm giving you. 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday on WizKid's YouTube channel. That's pretty much my game plan for next week. Yes. All right. Take care, everyone. I'm going to wrap this up the way I do every single stream because I mean it. Genuinely, truly mean it. Be good to yourselves and be good to each other. I'll see you on the flip side. And until then, bye.